Let's turn to China. China is reporting fewer coronavirus cases. There are serious doubts over the numbers. Beijing is being accused of downplaying the figures. Here's one more thing that China is trying to hide: the rising xenophobia and racism in the country. Last week, we got you a full report on this, how the African community was facing racism in Guangzhou in China. African governments are now angry. In yesterday's broadcast, we showed you how a Nigerian lawmaker grilled a Chinese diplomat. Across the capitals of African nations, politicians are now demanding answers from Beijing. And these videos from Guangzhou triggered the outrage. They showed African nationals on the streets. They were evicted from hotels and their rented houses. The Chinese people fear that new infections are spreading from foreigners. So they began targeting African expats. Misinformation added more fuel to the fire. So far, our reportage was limited to information and videos that leaked from China. But now, African ambassadors in Beijing have revealed the extent of xenophobia. They have written a letter to China's foreign minister. An African news website has shared a copy of the letter. It describes how Africans are being attacked, mistreated, and harassed in China. African nationals were ejected from their hotels in the middle of the night. Some of them were forced to live on the streets. A group of students was forced to take a nucleic acid test. They had no travel history. There are claims of forced testing and quarantine, even when someone showed no symptoms of the coronavirus or even when they had tested negative. Passports have been seized. Some of them were even threatened with arrests, detention, and deportation. These are gross violations of human rights. Guess how China responded to these charges? Chinese diplomats followed their playbook. First, they issued a denial. Beijing described the racist attacks as rumors and misunderstandings. Well, the criticism did not stop. So they tried to downplay the racism. Listen to this.
China's friendly policy towards Africa hasn't changed, and the friendship from African countries and people towards China will also not change. We do not discriminate against African brothers.
Friendship won't change, he says. African leaders, on the contrary, are furious. The governments of Nigeria, Ghana, South Africa, Kenya, Uganda and the African Union have spoken out. They have issued a fierce response and they have demanded action from Beijing. So China is trying to repair the damage, and this is very interesting, the damage with the African leadership and, more importantly, the damage to its image. China has dispatched officials to Guangzhou. They took a camera crew with them. A Twitter user captured this news report. Look at this. It's incredible how shoddy this is. Chinese officials are handing out food and flowers to Africans as the camera rolls. What is this? High school? Give flowers and we are friends now. China has not issued a formal apology because China is trying to spin this story too. Racism, it's your video versus theirs.